What up? My name is Brad. Welcome back to talking about Pokemon. Now, I'm making a lot of these discussion videos because I just want to talk about the game, to be 100% honest with you. So if you want to see more things just talking about it, this is literally what this is. There's no in-depth speculation here based upon the trailer and oh my gosh, I saw that grass wiggle. Literally, I just want to talk about the remakes and all these thoughts that are going through my mind because I got no one IRL I can talk about Pokemon with. I'm like, I call my mom, be like, Mom, what about Giratina? So we're gonna make a couple different videos. If you guys want to see more of them, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. You know, if you're just popping in, you're like, hey, you know what? I kind of like the idea of this, or we're just chit chatting. But let's get in. Let's talk about it. So I was looking up the differences between like Platinum and Diamond and Pearl, and truthfully, I mean, there's a lot of things listed, but nothing that really stands out to me. So when you look down here, changes from Diamond and Pearl, they're talking about like certain Pokemon being a different level, obtainable Pokemon. That doesn't apply to this kind of difference. I'm talking about strictly lore / story based things. So pretty much, at least to my understanding, in Oris, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, that's the one I'm going to jump to the most because Heart Gold and Soul Silver is pretty old at this point. And they weren't making any giant changes. Like the whole Mega Evolution split universes hadn't quite existed yet. Right? In case you don't know what that means, when Oris came out, Pokemon essentially split it down the middle, and they said the old Ruby and Sapphire were kind of their own thing to an extent, and the new Ruby and Sapphire, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, were like a separate thing, the Mega Evolution timeline, where things broke down differently. It's a whole... That's a different topic for a different day. But either way, that's essentially the big split I'm talking about when it comes to this. So, we'll have to see how it plays into it. I don't even know... I have another video I'm going to talk about where if I think Megas are coming back, I don't even know, to be 100% frank. Spoilers for the other video. I want to say yes, of course. Why not? You know, give me all of them. Give me every single fun thing we've had. Z moves, Dynamax, Gigantamax, Mega Evolutions. Give me where you can like throw the Pokeball out and it poofs and you have like a little like sparkles and stuff. I'll take all of it. But do I think it's gonna happen? It's possible. We'll have to just. It's honestly we're gonna have to see. I would like the Gen 4 starters to get something unique to them. I don't really want them to have Gigantamax. I'm a little more leaning towards that, but either way, we're talking about the story here. So essentially the story of Platinum, you're just taking on the gyms and you're like, oh, whoa, this dude's summoning these giant dragons that control space and time. And then little lake spirits pop out and they're like, hey, we got to keep this on lock, bros. Like when you get here, summoned by Cyrus begins to overwhelm Sinnoh. Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf appear, yada yada yada. And you know what happens there. And then Giratina, that's the best in Platinum, when Giratina pops up behind, and he's just like, let me pull you in here, boy. You might. I actually watched the anime a couple weeks ago, just to go back and watch Diamond and Pearl, just to watch Cyrus like lose his mind and jump into another universe. Just a cool thing with that. I'm trying to think of what they could really change, and I like to do these things off the top of my head. I don't really sit down and script this kind of stuff out. So in Oris, they involved a lot of things involving Hoopa. To an extent, it wasn't really story-based with Hoopa, right? That was mainly like post-game, having all the portals you could jump through. Well, we think it's Hoopa, right? I don't know if they ever actually officially confirmed that those portals were Hoopa, but that would make the most sense. They could go back to the wormhole type thing, like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon had. I didn't mind wormholes. It was a cool concept, for sure. Something to play into effect with that. Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf can do the same thing Ultra Beasts can do and make a wormhole, something along those lines. Because they're not going to be controlling space or time, right? Which wormholes would be space and time, essentially. Maybe Dialga and Palkia can make something along those lines. I want to see massive changes, but I also want to see the tried and true story of Cyrus. Because I do like Cyrus as an antagonist, right? I'm a big fan of the let me erase this entire world and make a whole new world. And then he, like, bonds with Giratina, if you watch Generations. And then he bonds with Giratina. I like that vibe a lot. Because Giratina is that odd one out, where he's just in this whole separate realm that's just his. I don't know, man. And getting into like Arceus, however you want to say it, I don't think we're really going to see anything from him based upon Pokemon Legends Arceus. I don't think we're going to see anything from him in this one. Because he never really played a factor in the original one. I think that's a really genius design in my opinion. Because technically speaking, in all of lore, Arceus is pretty important. If you don't know, he's relatively important, especially with these three, because he's the one that created Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, and as far as I know, Dialga and Palkia created the Lake Spirits. Pokemon lore gets a little chaotic. You start talking about the entire timeline. It starts turning into Kingdom Hearts real quick. Where it's just like, I'm not sure what happened with that. Like, if Hannah will ask me questions, my girlfriend, she'll ask me questions about, you know what? I don't know. Maybe. Sure. So, I do want to see Cyrus stick around. And I do want to see him go through a very similar path that he goes through. I don't really know what they could change up. Personally, I don't want to see massive story changes, but I do want to see differences that are, like, noticeable, right? I'm more of a fan of, like, tried and true type stuff. That's why I don't mind the art style. The whole chibi thing, because it's like, if the story is still intact, which, I don't know, I'm just not a very picky person, I suppose. If the story is still intact, I can totally get behind it, right? If it's still Pokemon at its core, and it just looks a little different on the overworld, doesn't really bug me at all. I like the idea of keeping a similar style, so it's very nostalgic, but then also giving a new twist to it. So that's pretty cool. We'll have to see. Personally, I would say the Distortion World is probably going to be a DLC type thing. And I don't mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a full-on DLC. I mean just extra content on top of the game. Like how we had the Delta episode. I always want to call it Z episode. It's like, it's definitely not XYZ here. The Delta episode in Oris. Somewhat akin to that, because Rayquaza was always accessible, right? And then they just gave a whole new spin on why Rayquaza was accessible. Could definitely be something along those lines. Maybe they're going to involve other legendaries. I highly doubt we're going to see things like Necrozma and stuff, but it's possible they touch into those kind of legendaries, like Necrozma, like Eternatus from Sword and Shield. Because if they choose to put Dynamax in the game, it's got to tie in somehow with the new lore of Sinnoh, right? So maybe, because the whole thing is that a meteorite crashed in the Galar region, and that's why Pokemon are able to Dynamax and stuff in the caverns down below, and all the energy comes from Eternatus to allow that Dynamaxing, right? That's why the Chancellor, whatever he is, wants to get all that energy and save it. That's why he's chained up Eternatus, yada yada yada. He breaks free. We know what happens with that one. I don't want to talk too much about Sword and Shield. They got to tie it in somehow that another meteorite fell, Eternatus somehow falls into the story, because Sinnoh, according to the Pokemon map, officially, I don't know, it's not actually official, but lack of a better term, official, it's not even close to Galar. So I can only imagine if Dynamax and whatnot, Gigantamax, is going to be in Diamond and Pearl remakes, then it's definitely going to have Eternatus involved somehow. Like, unless they find some kind of like, hey, it just happened. We don't know. It happened. Like how they did with Oris, that was really and truthfully, X and Y set up a nice split storyline though for the rest of the series. It set up a really nice where they're like, hey, in this timeline it happened, and this timeline it didn't happen, and that's what gave Mega Evolution. It's so simple, but it's enough to give you a variation that it kind of feels okay. I can get behind it. Whatever, there was a great war, there wasn't a great war, there was this machine, there wasn't this machine. Alright, fine. No big deal. Really and truthfully, the worst part is time is only going to really tell. What Dialga is only going to tell? I don't know the joke there. Is only really going to tell what happens, what they choose to do with it, but I do want to see changes, just not to the overall core story. Right? I like you're doing your thing. Galactic's trying to reset the universe, basically, make a whole new universe. Keep that. Keep Giratina. Throw in Arceus. Fine, whatever. Maybe it feeds into Pokemon Legends Arceus. Fine, no big deal. I could totally get down with that. But I don't want it to get too thrown every which way to the point where it's like, bro, I know it's a Pokemon game, but like, come on. It's like, I'm trying not to take this serious, but to the point where your brain's like, yeah, alright, yeah, so Eternatus just happened to be here too. Got it. I just hope it doesn't go that route. So keep it the same. Change the little tiny bits we have to change to make it kind of correlate with it. Move along. But the whole point of these videos is just discussions. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know your thought process behind things. let me know. You can tweet at me at BradicalYT. You're going to get a faster response there than the comment section by far, but you can leave it down below. Start a conversation with people. Just don't be rude. If you're rude, you're just going to get muted. That's just how it goes, bro. You're just going to get like your comments hidden and stuff like that. Nobody wants that. So just be nice to each other. Have a nice conversation. You can talk about the graphics all you want. Doesn't really matter to me. It's the first thing in everybody's mind is, why did it look this way? Sure. Discuss what you want to discuss. I went through this. I lived through the Sword and Shield trees. I can live through this too. So leave your thoughts down below. I want to know what you guys want to know and what you guys want to see, essentially. But I'm out. I'll catch you guys around. Thank you so much for watching. We got a bunch of other Pokemon videos coming up. Just talking about stuff. We're just talking about stuff. And that's just, I like to talk. Who would have thought I'm a YouTuber? It's pretty crazy, I know. Well, by the way, I'm out. Deuces.